former President Donald J. Trump was found guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records on May 30th. Trump is now the first president in U.S. history to be convicted of a felony following this trial. The trial began on April 15th and regards hush money paid to individuals, including adult film actress Stormy Daniels, for their silence during the last week of the 2016 presidential election. According to Daniels, she and Trump had an affair in 2006, which led to Trump processing a $130,000 payment to her through his at-the-time attorney, Michael Cohen. Despite the conviction by jury, Trump continued to deny his crimes as he left the courthouse.
And the whole thing, we didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
Even with the guilty sentence, it is unlikely that he will face jail time, though a separate sentencing hearing will be scheduled to determine the consequences. His conviction will also not directly affect his ability to continue to campaign for president. Trump is currently involved in 3 other criminal cases at time of reporting. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor. On Tuesday, May 14th, President Joe Biden announced a new wave of tariff rate increases for many imported Chinese electronic goods. In a brief posted to the White House website, the Biden administration claims the increased rates stem from wanting to combat unfair trade practices in China, while also bolstering America's own manufacturing, though this decision has been met with resistance from both parties. The following are the rate changes that will be going into effect over the course of the next 2 years. Steel and aluminum product rates will increase from 7.5% to 25%. Batteries and related product rates will also increase from 7.5% to 25%. Semiconductor rates will increase from 25% to 50%. Solar cell rates will also increase from 25% to 50%. Medical product rates will increase from 0% to 50%. And electric vehicle rates will double from 50% to 100%. With this decision, it was also officially announced that the Biden administration would maintain tariffs imposed by the Trump administration, tariffs that Biden originally criticized during the 2020 presidential election. These changes will largely be felt by consumers, as prices on these imports and products that use parts affected by the tariff will increase to reflect the rate change. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor. President Joe Biden's response to the genocide in Palestine has been polarizing among left-leaning constituents to say the least, and his refusal to take action is costing him staffers as well as votes. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, the first Palestinian congresswoman, and Lily Greenberg Call, who is Jewish and a Biden appointee for the Department of the Interior, have both called out the president on his handling of the situation in Gaza. Tlaib released a statement on the House of Representatives website on May 7th, following the Israeli invasion of Rafah. In the statement, she says that the U.S. is actively engaging in genocide and criticizes the $14 billion in funding that was recently approved to go to Israel, as well as Israel's general lack of concern regarding human rights. She urges that arrest warrants be issued for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials, and calls out her own colleagues as well for being complicit in genocide. She also calls on the president to stop funding this military campaign and to push for a permanent ceasefire, including the withdrawal of all troops from Gaza, as well as the release of all hostages and detained Palestinians. The following week, on May 15th, Call made a public social media post announcing her resignation from the Biden-Harris administration and posted her resignation letter, citing the administration's policies regarding Gaza as her reason for leaving. In the letter, she calls for many of the same concessions that Tlaib also mentioned, as well as criticizing Biden and his administration for making, quote, Jews the face of the American war machine, end quote. Both statements were met with criticism from both parties. The pushback from Republicans came as no surprise, but the criticisms from the liberal side illustrate the divide growing between Democrats who are opposed to genocide and those who are willing to facilitate genocide as long as it helps their party win in November. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor.
The first words that came out of my mouth to the Court of Appeals, which was from the bottom of our hearts, from our collective hundreds of years of experience, we knew that Harvey Weinstein did not get a fair trial.
On Thursday, New York's highest court overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 sexual assault conviction, which sentenced him to 23 years in prison, reversing a landmark ruling of the Me Too era. The court found the trial judge unfairly allowed testimony against the ex-movie mogul based on allegations that weren't part of the case. The reversal of Weinstein's conviction is the second major Me Too setback in the last 2 years. Weinstein will remain in custody after the appeals ruling due to being convicted in Los Angeles in 2022 of another sexual assault case and was sentenced to 16 years in prison. During its final moments of the trial, officials from the Manhattan District Attorney Office announced their intention to take the case back to a jury, saying it was a strong case in 2020 and it remains a strong case in 2024. The new trial could begin as quickly as September if room can be found on the court's calendar. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV.
On Tuesday, May 7th, TikTok parent company ByteDance filed a lawsuit against the United States federal government over a bill that would force the app owners to sell the platform or face a ban in the United States. The lawsuit claims that by banning TikTok in the United States, the government is infringing on its citizens' First Amendment rights. Joe Biden signed a bill last month on April 24th that would force ByteDance to sell TikTok to a non-Chinese company, or, if a buyer could not be found within 12 months, the app would be banned outright in America. While the U.S. government claims the bill was signed out of safety concerns for the U.S., ByteDance refuted this notion in the suit, saying that there is no tangible evidence that TikTok poses any threat to U.S. security, and that TikTok is being uniquely singled out by this bill. On top of that, ByteDance claims that the 12 months allotted to find a buyer for the company is unfeasible. The suit was filed with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, and while the proceedings are still early on, it is expected that this case could make its way to the Supreme Court. The ramifications of this lawsuit's ruling could be vitally important for similar cases in the future, and could potentially change how laws regarding technology and cybersecurity are drafted going forward. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor.
54-year-old Lisa Pisano from New Jersey was the first person to receive transplant surgery for a mechanical heart pump, as well as a gene-edited pig kidney transplant.
I couldn't go up the stairs, I couldn't drive, I couldn't play with my grandkids. So when this opportunity came to me, I said, I'm taking it.
When we admitted her to the hospital, she had 2 cardiac arrests. So that's how close she was to death.
Dr. Robert Montgomery, along with the medical staff at NYU Langone Health, felt this was the best plan of action for Pisano's failing heart and kidneys. With the FDA's approval, they completed their first ever pig kidney transplant procedure.
Do something that no one has done.
The human immune system rejects organs from animals, so Dr. Montgomery and his team used a pig kidney with one gene altered in order to make it more compatible, and it worked immediately.
So you release the clamps and Lisa's blood goes into the kidney, and it suddenly turns this beautiful pink color, a healthy organ. This isn't just about keeping somebody alive, it's restoring them to their lives.
I feel great today compared to other days.
As she recovers from surgery, Pisano is hopeful to be able to play with her 2 young grandchildren for the first time in years.
Severe storms rocked a majority of the United States early on this May as the spring season arrived with a bang. 2024 has been one of the most active years for tornadoes since 2017, with over 700 confirmed twisters already. The end of April already saw over 300 tornadoes across the U.S., with storm systems affecting Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, Texas, and even Alaska, which had its first tornado since 2005. The chaos continued into early May, with severe weather locking down highways and leading to states of emergency declared in multiple states. A single system that occurred on May 8th was responsible for 19 tornadoes that touched down in Alabama and Tennessee, causing damage to both residential and commercial areas. The high winds and heavy rains that have followed these storms have been destructive in their own right as well, causing flooding and power outages affecting thousands for up to weeks on end. So far, 22 fatalities in the United States have been attributed to these storms. Even as the month comes to a close, severe weather still threatens millions in the South and Midwest, with severe storm warnings going out on May 25th, threatening many people's plans for the holiday weekend. For GSU-TV, this is Graham Taylor.
Howard's 2024 commencement ceremony made school history this May for having a student graduate at the age of 83. Marie Fowler earned a doctorate degree in divinity, which she says is a calling from God.
Never my thought that I would go beyond maybe one semester, because after all, I started school when I had been out of school since 1959. I didn't know if I could even retain information.
With initial doubt in her abilities and financial state, Dr. Fowler says the push she needed to get to the finish line came from her parents.
My mom and dad was born in an era when it was illegal for them to learn to read and write. We taught my dad how to read and write and how to sign his name.
And throughout her 3 years at Howard's Divinity School, Dr. Fowler made her mark.
She was the life of the party. She knew what she needed, what she wanted, and she came here and she did that.
Other thing that I want to say, it is never too late. I want everyone to realize that.
This has been Jaida Thompson with GSUTV.
On Tuesday, May 7th, Israel began an offensive operation in Rafah, one of the last remaining places in Gaza that citizens were being evacuated to. The invasion began shortly after Hamas had agreed to ceasefire conditions and the release of hostages, but Israel proceeded with the attack anyways, once again foregoing peace for violence. This action was largely met with disdain from members of the international community, with even the United States threatening to withhold arms deals with Israel if they went ahead with the invasion, though the US has since continued with munition shipments despite these actions. More than 1.3 million Palestinians are currently sheltering in Rafah, with most of them already displaced after the 7 months of non-stop bombing. On Monday, May 20th, the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Karim Khan, stated that arrest warrants should be issued for both Hamas leaders and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, though the warrants would have to be approved by the court itself. The following Friday, the International Court of Justice ordered the immediate halt on any offensive actions in Rafah. Israel responded by continuing their genocidal campaign and denying any accusations of genocide. As international pressure continues to mount against Israel's continued military action, and as the Palestinian death toll surpasses 40,000, people worldwide are hoping for a swift end to the fighting, despite the inaction of world leaders. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor. On May 19th, a helicopter transporting Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, and other officials went missing over northern Iran. The wreckage of the helicopter was found Monday morning, and none of the 8 people aboard survived the crash. Despite the title of president, Raisi was not the head of state for Iran. That title goes to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. As president, though, Raisi was the head of the executive branch of government, and was in the running and favored to be the next supreme leader. While many are mourning his death, Raisi has had a long and controversial political history, most recently including the death of 500 and detainment of over 22,000 protesters and dissenters, following the death of Mahsa Amini in 2022, a civilian who was arrested for wearing her hijab too loosely. His political influence stretches back much farther than that, though, to even bloodier conflicts, so many are glad he no longer holds power, even if the future of Iranian leadership is unclear. His unexpected death came during the 4th year of his first 4-year presidential term, and will trigger a special presidential election 50 days following his passing. Until then, former Vice President Mohammad Mokhbar will be acting president of Iran. At this time, Iranian officials say there is no signs of foul play or sabotage regarding the helicopter crash, though an investigation is still ongoing. For GSUTV, this is Graham Taylor.
This story begins far beyond the mountains and the shadows. On the other side of the light.
Welcome to Hollywood Buzz, your source for the latest in the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Jason Gonzalez, and today we have stories from iconic music artists all the way to new announcements of films. Let's get started. American pop star Madonna capped off her celebration tour from Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana Beach. The Saturday night performance was a massive free show for an estimated 1.6 million fans and has been garnered as her biggest live crowd in her career. Grammy Award-winning artist Childish Gambino is going on a world tour following the release of Ada Vista, which he called the finished version of his 2020 record 3:15:20. Gambino will perform in Chicago at the United Center on October 3rd. Justin and Hailey Bieber are expecting their first child. The couple, married since September 2018, announced the news on Instagram with a sweet video and a series of images. Many of the details are still unknown, as the couple would like to keep the pregnancy in a private manner. Now it's time to turn to the film industry, where the first images of James Gunn's upcoming Superman has been released. Actor David Cornswell will be the newest Man of Steel in the DC universe. The latest image displays Superman's new logo inspired by Alex Ross's Kingdom Come comic series. Superman is set to be released in theaters on July 11, 2025.
You think that tennis is about expressing yourself, doing your thing. You don't know what tennis is.
What is it?
Zendaya stars in Challengers, a rated R film that focuses on a former tennis prodigy turned coach who guided her husband into a champion. But to overcome a losing streak, he needs to face his ex-best friend and her ex-boyfriend. The romantic sports drama is set to release on April 22nd, 2024.
A lion was born without a drop of nobility in his blood. A lion who would change our lives forever. Mufasa.
The first trailer for Disney's Mufasa: The Lion King has been released. In this film, Simba, having become the king of the Pride Land, is determined for his cub to follow in his paw prints, while the origins of his late father Mufasa are explored. The musical drama film is set to be released on December 20th, 2024. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV.
Knuckles, who emerged out of nowhere from the 1994 Sega game Sonic the Hedgehog 3, is beginning to expand his multimedia presence.
I am an echidna warrior.
The hot-headed echidna, voiced by Idris Elba, made his big screen debut in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Knuckles is now starring in his own series on Paramount+.
I only remain on Earth because I made a vow to you and the Fox. So I made myself at home.
It's more of an expansion of the whole universe. You know, Knuckles is quite mysterious. He's the echidna warrior. No one knows much about him. But in this show, we sort of expand that a little bit.
I do not make jokes. I make warriors.
The whole Sonic universe is big. There's so many characters. There's Easter eggs being dropped. You know, the whole gaming community is really excited about the films and the TV shows. I think we're going to get more and bigger, so I'm excited.
Do I look like I need your power?
The series brought a new antagonist played by Kid Cudi.
I had a lot of fun doing the action. I did a couple of my own stunts, you know, so yeah, I just felt like a 10-year-old Scott wouldn't believe it.
Over its premiere weekend, it became the most watched original series on Paramount+. This has been Jaida Thompson with GSUTV. First Monday of May is here, which means the Met Gala has returned for the annual celebration of the Costume Institute's upcoming exhibition, entitled Sleeping Beauty: Reawakening Fashion. Guests dressed to the theme of the Garden of Time in beautiful florals and personal renditions of different aspects of garden life. The hosts of the Met, Jennifer Lopez, Bad Bunny, Chris Hemsworth, Zendaya, and Vogue's very own Anna Wintour did not disappoint on the red carpet. Zendaya wore a custom haute couture look from Maison Margiela Artisanal by John Galliano. People gathered around anxiously to see the remarkable fashions on display. Cardi B was definitely a sight to see in her extravagant black gown by Wendelson, designed by founder Sensen Lee. Cardi needed 7 people to assist her in order for her to move about the event. Celebrities excelled in the creativity department, which was shown on this night of high fashion in Manhattan, New York. This has been Jaida Thompson with GSU TV.
Media mogul Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, is once again under fire after video of him from 2016 was released to the public on May 17th. The video shows Combs physically assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The footage was obtained from hotel surveillance cameras and shows Combs throwing Ventura to the ground before repeatedly kicking her and dragging her off, as well as throwing glass vases at her. The video matches testimony given during Ventura's lawsuit against Combs last November, where she accused him of rape and physical abuse. The suit was settled for an undisclosed amount, and Combs at the time denied all accusations of violence or misdoing before and after the trial. He has since released an apology video after the security footage went public. 5 other women have also filed lawsuits against Combs since Ventura's suit in November, alleging they faced similar abuse from Combs. He has denied those allegations as well, though those trials are currently unresolved. 2 of Combs' houses have also been raided by the Department of Homeland Security as well in that time, with his Florida and California homes both being searched in March over these allegations, though those investigations also remain ongoing. For GSU TV, this is Graham Taylor.
On Wednesday, top streaming service Netflix announced that it will be streaming 2 NFL Christmas games. Its December 25th games will include the Kansas City Chiefs at the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens at the Houston Texans. For the next 3 seasons, the streaming service will broadcast at least one holiday game as part of a groundbreaking deal with the NFL. The 4 football teams involved this year will play in a rare Wednesday regular season games, marking the 5th straight year of NFL games on Christmas Day. The Netflix Christmas slate will also air on television in competing team cities and be available on US mobile devices with NFL Plus. According to the Wall Street Journal, the streaming giant will pay an estimated $150 million total for the Christmas Day games this year, as they view the NFL as a hot commodity that will drive their live broadcast initiative. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV.
The Justice Department filed this lawsuit on behalf of fans who should be able to go to concerts without a monopoly standing in their way.
On Thursday, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced an antitrust lawsuit against Ticketmaster and its owner, Live Nation Entertainment. Ticketmaster, which merged with Live Nation in 2010, is the world's largest ticket sellers across live music, sports, theater, and more. In the lawsuit, which joined 29 states and the District of Columbia, the United States Department of Justice accuses Live Nation of leveraging assets to dominate the industry by locking venues into exclusive ticketing contracts, pressuring artists to use its services, and threatening its rivals with financial retribution. Those tactics, the government argues, have resulted in higher ticket prices for consumers and have suppressed innovation and competition throughout the industry. The suit asked the court to order the selling of, at minimum, Ticketmaster and to prevent Live Nation from engaging in anti-competitive practices. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV.
No question. Derek Lively, one of the things I loved about him coming out was his passing ability.
Carl Anthony Towns with the putback flush.
Welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jason Gonzalez. Today we'll be covering the latest and the greatest stories from the world of sports. Let's get started.
Face off comes to Kulak. Over to Cece. Fires. Score! Of all people to make it 1-0. Cody Cece with a bomb. And the Oilers score first in Game 7.
Our first story comes from the NHL playoffs, where the Edmonton Oilers won head-to-head with the Vancouver Canucks in a nail-biting Game 7 of the second round. The Oilers would dominate through 2 periods, holding a 3-0 lead, while the Canucks would later go on to score twice. But even with those goals, the Oilers held a firm 3-2 victory.
And there's Lopez out to left, a base hit. They're going to send Corey Lee. The throw from Schneider. Safe!
Now it's time to move on to baseball, where the Chicago White Sox snapped their 4-game losing streak on the road against the Toronto Blue Jays. Star pitcher Garrett Crochet allowed 2 hits, struck out 4, walked just 1 in 6 innings to win his 4th straight start. Nicky Lopez and Eloy Jimenez led the Sox to a 5-0 victory, improving to a 15-34 record. As for the Chicago Cubs, they will lose their 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves after Jarred Kelenic hit a solo home run and 2 other runs were added in Thursday's game to give the Braves a 3-0 victory. The Cubs currently stand second in the National Central Division with a 27-24 record.
Tatum trying to get free. Throwing in the corner. Brown fakes, fires up the 3. Bang! Bang! Jaylen Brown knocks down the 3 to tie the game!
The NBA playoffs are in full effect. In Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final, the Celtics would escape a close game at home against the Indiana Pacers. A clutch 3 by Jaylen Brown in the closing moments of the 4th quarter led to overtime, where the Celtics dominated and came out victorious 133-128.
See the second defender.
Doncic with McDaniels there. Shot clock at 7. Luka will make a move. Lets it rip. Doncic puts it in. 4 points.
In the Western Conference Final, the Dallas Mavericks stole Game 1 on the road against the Minnesota Timberwolves. In the 108-105 victory, Dallas guard Kyrie Irving scored 30 points along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists, whereas Luka Doncic scored 33 points and hauled in 6 rebounds and 8 assists. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves will look to rebound in Game 2 at the Target Center. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV.
After his playing career, his enthusiasm
passion and love for basketball translated to broadcasting success and to a life spent promoting and growing the game around the world.
Bill Walton, the Hall of Fame NBA center and beloved broadcaster, passed away on Monday at the age of 71 at his home in San Diego, California. Walton, who stood 6'11", died of colon cancer and was surrounded by his wife and sons during his final moments. In his historic basketball career, Walton won 3 National Players of the Year awards in college, where he was a star for the UCLA Bruins. He also won 2 national championships, both undefeated seasons, and a still record 88-game winning streak. Following his historic collegiate career, Walton went on to win 2 NBA championships and 1 Most Valuable Player award, along with many other accolades. In his post-career, Walton also found success as a basketball commentator, becoming well known for his infectious enthusiasm and love for the game. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver remembers Walton as a truly one-of-a-kind man who redefined the center position. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSUTV. 3-time WNBA champion and 2-time NCAA champion Candace Parker is retiring from basketball. The 38-year-old, who was signed to the champion Las Vegas Aces, announced the end of her storied career through a heartfelt Instagram post. Parker says she promised to never cheat the game, and as a competitor she wants one more, but she has accepted that her time is up. As part of her decision was the reoccurring surgeries on her foot that sidelined her for the majority of the 2023 season with the Aces. During her career, Parker was a 10-time All-WNBA honoree and 7-time WNBA All-Star. In 2021, she returned to her hometown, signing with the Chicago Sky as a free agent and leading the team to its first WNBA championship in the first of 2 seasons with the franchise. Parker is thankful to all of her family, friends, teammates, coaches, and fans for making her 16-year journey in basketball so special. Upon retirement, Parker will continue her role on the NBA on TNT broadcast and says she's looking to be as successful in her post-career as she's been in the league. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV. On Wednesday, the Chicago Bears unveiled plans for a new stadium on the city's lakefront. The newest update in a year-long process by the NFL franchise to replace Soldier Field with a state-of-the-art venue. The plan calls for $3.2 billion for the new stadium plus an additional $1.5 billion in infrastructure. The proposal included a breakdown that says the Bears will put forward over $2 billion while needing a $300 million loan from the NFL and $900 million in bonds from the Illinois Sports Facility Authority. The funding from the ISFA would involve extending bonds of existing 2% hotel tax. Mayor of Chicago Brandon Johnson gave a full endorsement of the proposal, saying that there will be no tax hikes or new taxes for Chicago residents, and the plan delivers strong public benefits. While Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and other state legislators are still skeptical of the plan. In the team's proposal, the city says the project would add green and open spaces while improving access to the city's museum campus, and can also include a publicly owned hotel. The new stadium would be built in 3 phases and take up to 5 years. This is Jason Gonzalez reporting for GSU-TV.